Hello and welcome back. Well, it's not a sales video that would have already been posted by now. Sales were 180 out of 7 things, and it was like a $35 book was the best of it. No sourcing today because if you paid attention or if you're here and listened or you just happened to catch the bit that I said maybe last week, right about this time, that I wouldn't be doing much of any sourcing, primarily because of the holiday and running around, festivities. B, when I do the bigger sale, the 5 brackets higher sale, and then I do the subsequent calling, that takes time, quite a bit of time, when I know that I would be looking at least at least 400 items that will need to be individually taken down. Each and every single one of them I would click, and if the view count, regardless if it's 0 or 1, I click it. If it's 3 or 4, it'll come down and it'll get repriced a little. Some of them I would look on Terapeak and kind of get a better gauge of the pricing over 3 year, over 1 year. I did make a video of this yesterday and went to play back, and it was all black screen. I don't know why it did that when I just did a screen record with headphones and a boom mic. Don't know. Not going to do it again. It was a lot of rambling anyhow. So I did that yesterday, and today was the last 180 disc media that just came down en masse. So I went to my media shipping policy, and whatever was 6 months or 5 months, 29 days, whatever today's date is, but 6 months ago, and older, that's as far as I went back, was 6 months. I didn't go into 5 months and 28 days. I think the last was 5 months and 29 days. Anything older than that just came down well fell swoop. For all of the items, I would copy paste the title, the author, the title of the movie, the album CD title, and the artist, a little shiny, whichever it would be that would get me enough information to get results. Some of them, not a whole lot. Some of them I would have to hyphen and a word after the hyphen to kind of narrow it down some more. But it's not typical for me to have much of any items that are going to need that a whole lot. I'm definitely not going to opine and explain more. I'm not going to explain and expound more. I don't know why I opine on how I do that. I did do a video of it. I've said kind of basically and generically in different videos on how I do that, why I do it. And ultimately, you're going to end up with this plus 61 more. And the books, since I don't get my sourcing videos may show I get a lot of books, but I don't get a lot of books. I have maybe a little over 600 listed, and I threw out 30. So 30 I completely took down, which filled up for the most part one of the USPS bins. It filled that up for the most part. If I would have organized it, it would have been about 3/4 full. And that amount opens up a little over a box and a half of space. I'm not going to go in and start consolidating boxes and moving books from one box and then reskewing them. And on eBay, they just stay like that. And that box, I just start filling the boxes up that do have space voids in them of boxes or of books that I am adding. The CDs and DVDs, this just means that I don't have to add any more boxes for a while. Because ultimately, this was the pull from yesterday, right here. So these are the ones that I did yesterday that had at least a number to them Let's just say that the view count total at 8 months was 5. It came down, and I copy pasted the title and all that other stuff, and I made a determination that this is just going to ultimately come down and stay down. For example, we have this footstep. There's actually two to this one. Maybe this is it. Nope. So something like this. Right after I long green line and I went into DVDs and all the other stuff, they sell for like $8 in maybe 3 over 3 years. It just wasn't enough for me to really want to keep it. So I make those decisions as I go. Further, as what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get as many DVDs as I can, because declutter is no longer. They still sell, but they don't buy. And I found that out when I opened up my app to start scanning these so I could start making the separate piles already. And they're like, our store and our app and everything is no longer in business or whatever. I'm like, well, so now everything's just going to go to the exchange. Whatever they don't take, then we'll go in a lot of 100 disc DVD, if not close to it. So if it may be in one case, but if there's 2 discs in it, I count that as 2. So when I go to make a sale or an auction or whichever it may be, or just put one big 100 disc DVD, maybe a couple audiobooks or whichever, when I make that lot, it's going to be based on the disc count. So I want to have what I can. I still have like a religious slot that maybe has 25 discs. And then this is those are all CDs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 10 or 11 DVDs in there, and this stuff in here. This stuff in here is stuff that I've already accrued. So it could have been from other sales. It could have been from me just buying in bulk. It could have been a return, or I just bought it on the fly and I didn't look it up, or there could be a myriad of reasons why this stuff is in here. So there's that stuff, this which came from this box. And this stuff here, that also came from this box. So in here, there's probably, there's 10, it's got to be at least 15. It's probably about 60 in here, maybe 30 in here, and another 60 more to take out. So let's just say 150. I don't know exactly. We'll go up here to Game Exchange, and whatever I get, I'll get my difference on a gift card. And then after the turn of the year, when I do the next culling, I'll repeat this process, and I'll go back up there, and I'll just have them put more on that gift card, and then I just give that gift card to my nephews, and they use that at the Game Exchange because they have a Game Exchange out where they live at on the west side, and they go there all the time to find. They're more into kaiju stuff now, but it's a gift card at a place that they use, right? So that saves me that Christmas cash. What's left over gets put in lots for the DVDs and that stuff. We'll go from there. All right. So what is left from those and what's going to be left from here? I think there's one book out of the mix of 61. 61. If you're paying attention, you can see that that's in drafts. So how I do this, I'll go in, I'll take the complete mess. Whatever I need to take down, I take down. Then I'll go into sell similar. If it's something that I go to list, it will be listed. If I go to and I look at the pricing and I don't want to list it again, all I do is go right back to the bookmark that I have for unsold, and it brings me back to the unsold page. The page of the item that I was just on to create a listing page, since I didn't finish it, will go to draft. So then that way when I'm done listing 7 or 8, I just click those 7 or 8 and hit delete. And then eventually the entire page that needs to be relisted is now empty and void of any sell similars that need to be done. And then what's left is the drafts. In the drafts, right here, I want to say it is the corresponding box where it should be. No, that wasn't it. This column right here. So then I just look in these boxes. You cannot columnize them by the SKU, by alphabetical this way. So I can type in. I don't know if I can type in the title and if it'll come up SKU or not. I haven't tried that because they changed that since the last time I've done this. If anything, I just keep switching around from box to box to box. Or I just go in the title part and I type in DVD. That way I know I'm only looking in the DVD boxes. I'm not constantly going from here to there, here to there. Either way, it's 3:40 in the afternoon. I'll be done with pulling all these in maybe a half an hour, maybe a little more. And then I'll take the boxes of the CDs, 2 boxes at a time, and whatever I have, 6, 12, 18, 20, 21 or 22 of them. I'm going to take them over to the computer, and I will type in the search bar above like where the picture and title is for your listings, and I'll type in C22. It'll bring up box C22 or anything else that has C22 in the title, which is going to be a couple things. I know it's not, if it's a pair of glasses, it's not disc media. That's fine. And I'll make sure that what is in box C22 is in box C22. And I'll just go by however it is the order that I'm looking at, whichever I choose to do it. I want to make sure that what is listed in box C22 is in box C22, and whatever is in here that is not on the listing comes out. So everything that's listed in C22 will be in this box. Anything extra will come out, and I'll find out why. It's either because it's a called item that I couldn't find, or whichever reason. And then I'll end up with a small stack of those, and then I will type that up in the title bar after I clear all that. I'll type up the title or some sort of word of the item that I have. I'll find out if it's listed. If I have it listed, then I'll go back. It'll go in the appropriate box, or I'll just adjust the SKU and I'll just put it back in that box, whichever box I have right beside me at that time. So there's a lot of little nuances, little idiosyncrasies that are good to do. And I do this, and I've been doing this inventory thing like this. It did start off pretty much once a year, but then I got into 2 because you can accrue so much. So if I did this once a year, I'd be looking at spending 3-4 days, just me doing this process, because I'd be taking down 1,000. Well, I guess depending on what you have and how well they sell. They kind of get the proportional math. It helps to rotate that stuff out, and it helps to acclimate yourself to not get attached to your inventory. Like, oh man, I paid $2 for that one. I don't want to see it go. It could sell for 8. I can make it. Fucking get that out of here. Get that item gone. Sell it somewhere. Put it in a lot. Get it gone. Worry about the stuff that is making money now. That's kind of a hint or a tip, whichever. But that's also just logical sense. I mean, do you see a lot of stores holding on to fidget spinners anymore, or do they clearance that stuff out? Yeah, they may have broke even. They may have lost a few bucks, but you clearance that stuff out, and a little bit of lost money is better than zero money. Because if you have $500 wrapped up in something and you get $300 for it, you're out $200. If you have $500 into something and you get zero out of it, and you never ever get rid of it any way, manner, fashion, or form besides throwing it out, now you're out $500. Which is better, out $200 or out $500, right? So take that loss. And a lot of times it just turns into a sunk cost, which falls under sunk cost theory. And I don't know when that happens for media, but to me, books beyond a year, I guess we could say is sunk cost, because I'm very specific, critiqued, scrutiny when it comes down to what books I buy. Now, sometimes I'll just buy those little ones that are $12, $15 because they're 25 cents or 50 cents and they can sell. Most of the time, the books that I buy are going to be $30 or more. Most of the time. Because they can sit. CDs and DVDs, I'm not too pressed about. If it's something that I get for 25 cents and it can sell for 10, yeah, I'll do that. If it eventually sells for 8, like a DVD went out today for $9. And I think my last sales video, there was a couple that were fairly inexpensive, $9, $10. Because I probably didn't pay much for them, or I knew that there was stand a chance to sell pretty quick. So even if I paid $1, maybe even, I wanted to do that for $2. But even if I paid $1 for something that will sell for $9, $10, I'm still making $2. And all the more it is me getting 2 pictures, posting it, so I've got like 2-3 minutes wrapped up into it. With 5 total after looking at it, bringing it home, getting pictures, finding the price, listing the price, putting it away, when it sells, finding it in the box, packaging it up, sending it out, right? Maybe 5 minutes for $2. You do that 5, so there's 12 of those 5 minutes in an hour times 2, that's 24 an hour for stuff that's cheap. Yeah, why not? But I don't want to focus on that because there's just so much more of the other good stuff out there. I was going to make this to where, I would start going through these boxes, but it would be a lot of my head turn, a lot of me kind of grumbling a bit because, the box wouldn't come out, or I can't find the specific disc, whichever. However, is what I will show is as I'm going through, so let's just say I start on this very first one here, and I know that I have it, I will click that. Then I'll find the next one, or however it goes, I'll find the next one. And I know that I have it after I put it down, I'll click that. And then when I get a handful, 10, 15, or whenever I want to, I just go into delete drafts, or however many I picked. And then I'm down to so many, and then there's some that I can't find because they're not in that box, or for whichever reason, hence we got to physically go through everything. And then when all that is said and done, so this is basically 2 days in the making. When all that is said and done, you can kind of breathe with relief on a couple fronts. One front is that all that work, for me wise, 2 days. 2 days of doing this. I mean, it's probably going to burn into a little bit. Books are pretty much done. When I go to put the books away, that's when I will do that. And it's not, to go through those boxes, it does not take long. Because there's only 15 to 20 in a box, right? So it doesn't take long to go through those. And I will go through those as I'm putting books away. That's a twofer. DVDs, regardless of how many boxes there are, 40 boxes, however many there are, there's 20 to 22, 23 DVDs in a box, plus the font is larger. So those go by fairly quick. CDs, there's anywhere from 40 to just under 60 per box, and the font is this small. So these ones will take time. The other ones, not so much. But if I had to, for tomorrow, I could spend half the day doing that and then go out sourcing. There is, I'm not going to give them that. So there's that sense that all that work is done. The other sense is that your inventory is organized now, and you walk around, you feel better about yourself, you feel better about your business, feel better about your operation. That Or I've even heard some people say that a business is, oh, I've never heard of your outfit before. Okay, but outfit, old term, like back in Wild Western days. Uh, but you feel more elated that you know where your stuff is. And there's a couple other little facets that go to, getting this type of work done. It's a massive inventory improvement. It's a great store improvement. It's a great way on how to stay organized and stay disciplined. And I would say if there's anything that I want to share from what not only other resellers try to extol, but basically most of everybody else, you have to stay motivated and you have to stay dedicated. Don't have to stay on an absolute routine, but keep things structured. I've said structured before. Routine, not so much. That can fluctuate. But structured. Routine would be you're listing 25 items from 9 a.m. to 12. And then you eat lunch. And then you go out on a coffee date. And then you come back. And then you put stuff away. That is routine. Your routine is going to vary quite a bit. The structure is doing exactly the same thing. And I will praise the structure. Just keep your routine enough to stay busy. And that's one of the things I make in comments. Just staying busy. Not as busy as some, but stay busy. Do stuff. I mean, my day for reselling wise basically starts right about 9 o'clock. As I say in the mornings, in the videos, it's 9 o'clock or before, a little bit after. That's when my days start. Depending what I'm doing on the day, I'm done anywhere from 3 to 5, sometimes 2. When I'm done for the day, I'm like, all right, well, the video's done, stuff is packaged, and I got 50 self-similars done. It's 2 o'clock. I'm done for the day. I'm not going to go anywhere. Or video's done, stuff is packaged. I'm not going to wait for the postal carrier to say hi, make sure it actually gets picked up. Not that it's never been picked up. It's just one of those structured things. I always want to make sure that it gets picked up. Never had a problem. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'll go drive 45 minutes out and I have time, so I'm not back at 6. I'm usually back around 5, sometimes a little later. I'll make my structure that way, make my day that way. But for the most part, it varies, but it's the discipline to constantly do it. It's the routine of doing kind of the same things every day. And it's a dedication and motivation to just, sales are coming in, sales are coming in. All right. So I think that's going to wrap that one up. If not, I'll just keep repeating the same topics in different words. So if you like what you heard, like what you saw, like what you learned, let me think you're going up. Comments down below. Subscribe, share. Those all help. They only take a second. They're free. Appreciate it. Thank you.